the button.
Yep. Welcome to Combination.
Thanks for joining us. Happy Day of the Dead.
Yeah. So, good evening. Welcome to Combination Trivia.
Yeah.
Today, November 1st, also known as
Dios de la Muertes, the Day of the Dead.
Or Day of the Dead. And tonight we're talking about Deadman.
How appropriate.
Exactly. Now, Deadman is a DC comic. And tonight we're talking about the graphic novel that Neal Adams did a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Deadman was a character very much associated with Neal Adams. Obviously, one of Neal Adams' favorite characters to do. He's had a long and storied career doing Deadman, doing both the illustrations and the story, and just contributing a lot to the development of the character. And I know that you've heard us talk about going to Baltimore, which happened this past weekend. And one of the things that we did at Baltimore, or what Baltimore hosted, was a Neal Adams memorial panel.
Celebration of his life. Some of the cool things he did.
And this was one of the things that got mentioned at the panel. I mean, so we wanted to take a minute to talk about Neal, to remember Neal, Mr. Adams, and talk about Deadman. And
yes.
And by the way, go.
Just his long association with the character. Pretty much most people, when they think of the character, they think of Neal's version.
Exactly.
A definitive look.
All the elements he brought to it.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit more about Baltimore at the end of the show. But in the meantime, while you're here, if you're new to the show, we're glad you're here. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, tweet, click the bell, click the heart, click our heart,
Yeah.
Follow
us on Facebook, Instagram, all the good stuff.
Exactly. But if you're here now and you want to play trivia along with us, this is the path to go. And we hope you play along. And as always, this is multiple choice. First right answer gets the most points. Multiple choice. Take a chance.
Yeah.
Have some fun.
You might just live through it.
And if you want to get in depth into the questions and the rules and regulations, go to our website. We spell it out into lots and lots of detail. But there you go.
There it is. And now, but the game's
countdown. Exactly. Now, First appearance of Deadman.
Clear back in 1967.
Yeah, that was a minute ago. So now we've just been talking about how Neal Adams has a long association with the Deadman character, but the first appearance in 1967 was written by Arnold Drake and drawn by Carmen Infantino.
Yeah, who would soon go on to become publisher of DC Comics shortly after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The story included the first known depiction of narcotics in a comic book story that was approved by Comics Code. So that we were talking about drugs, we were talking about narcotics, and the Comics Code said, that's okay.
Yeah. Because of the context in which it was told in the story. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for those of you not familiar with the Comics Code, we go into it a little bit. We go into it a little bit in our recent Morbius show. We went into it in a couple of others. Exactly. Talking about when the Comics Code showed up and it said these things you can talk about and these things you cannot. So it's kind of a big deal that they decided in 67 we could talk about drugs.
Because that was becoming a big deal in 1967.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
So Deadman first appears in 1967. What book did he first appear in? Now, Strange Adventures ran for 250 issues, and it was a DC anthology book, but it was also DC's first ever science fiction title.
Right.
Do you remember the first story it started with?
It was an adaptation of somewhere.
The film Destination Moon.
That's right.
Exactly. And this was realized, Strange Adventures started in the 50s or something. So this was back when the moon wasn't exactly something we thought we were going to do. It was something that, was a little bit of a far star.
That was when Flash Gordon and those guys got to go to the moon.
Yeah. I mostly remember that crazy gorilla story from 1951, but that's me. But yeah, this is where and when Deadman, which is science fiction, got his start. And Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first story won a couple of awards, like the Alley Award for Best New Strip, and maybe even the Alley Award Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe.
For Neal Adams after he started drawing it and doing some very unique things with the artwork. So it was considered cutting edge stuff. Partially because it was this little book kind of off to the side that they could kind of flex their muscles on. So he did some interesting layouts.
Which is why. And this book, the one that we're talking about tonight, it's just I think you're almost better served by just kind of looking at it. First looking at it and then going back and trying to read it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, Deadman got his first full-length, actual series when?
His own title series debuted, believe it or not,
not until 1986. So, Deadman, he appeared from
for quite a while.
Yeah, he was a supporting character throughout the 70s and 80s. He had a recurring stint in Jack Kirby's Forever People, right?
Yep. Showed up 2 or 3 times in Brave and the Bold and DC Comics Presents and other stories hither and yon, but yeah, didn't actually get the solo feature until the mid-'80s. In a book gorgeously drawn by Jose Garcia Lopez, who's...
Yep, and written by Andrew Helfer.
Yeah. Which is also very pretty. But,
yeah, Deadman's always has the best art. Now, before he was a superhero, Deadman had another job. What was it?
What did he do for a living?
Ah! Okay. And he was a circus performer.
Yes.
Now, originally, when he first, this is 67 and such, Todd, what's another famous circus performer turned superhero in the DC universe?
Oh, let me think. That would be Dick Grayson of the Flying Graysons, who went on to become Robin, sidekick in Wars of Batman.
And then Nightwing, etc. But here's the thing. Originally, it was just a little bit of a coinky-dink that Robin had a career as a circus performer, and then, Deadman did as well.
Right.
That got switched in 2011, where it got retconned that they knew one another, and that Deadman, the story was called Deadman and the Flying Graysons, and that that they're working together, and Deadman's trying to pull off a trick, and he's a little difficult. It's an interesting story and an interesting retcon. But again, originally, although you'd think he'd be hanging out with the Graysons, etc. No.
There was actually more than one circus in the DC universe that suffered a tragedy of a trapeze artist. That makes one of
in the DC universe. So Deadman, that's not his real name.
No. Catchy as it is.
Deadman's real name was?
Boston Brand.
Now here's the thing. As we just said, Deadman was an aerialist. He was a trapeze performer. He was a circus performer, right?
Yes, yes.
And when he would do his act, the Deadman outfit, the red and black with a big D and, the white face, etc., that was his outfit. That's what he wore.
And he was actually billed as the Deadman, as the aerialist that he was, even though back then he was alive.
So all part of this.
Because he did death-defying tricks and
exactly. Get it? I like Annette.
Do you? She's a nice girl, but not much help in a trapeze act.
There you go. Now, speaking of retcon, okay?
Yes.
Originally, first thing, Deadman, only child.
Right.
That's changed. In this current book, he has a twin brother, and the twin brother's name?
It's Cleveland.
Originally, the first pass at Deadman, he grew up the only child in a very abusive household. And as one did, when he got to be old enough, 16 or so, he ran away and joined the circus.
Yeah. That's what happened back in the 50s.
Exactly. You ran away to join the circus. But now things have changed. He's got a brother, twin brother named Cleveland, but Deadman is still dead. Yep. He's not getting better.
No.
And in addition to a brother named Cleveland, Deadman now has
sister.
sister. And what's the sister's name?
Leia? Oh, no, sorry. Wrong sister, wrong universe.
The sister's name is Zia.
Yeah, yes.
So, in addition to the brother, he gets a sister, never been heard from before, brand new. And while we don't know, we're kind of under the impression that Zia Brand was inspired by who?
By Zia Adams, which is one of Neal's daughters and a colorist in her own right and an artist as well.
Yep.
And has worked at her father's studio off and on over the years. So,
yeah,
it was a nice little nod.
So Zia Adams, she is like Todd said, she also is a colorist. She also is an artist. She's worked with Continuity Comics. She worked with Valiant. She worked with Redline Comics.
Worked on some fun things like Betty Boop calendars and other cool products over the years.
And so again, don't know this for sure, but for us, it sort of stands to reason that Neal Adams named Zia after Zia.
Yeah.
Now, in the act, the Trapeze Act, there's some other trapeze artists in it. What are their names?
Dan and Jace? Oh, no, that'd be the Wonder Twins. Well, that would be funny if they were in this, but
nope. It's two nice guys named Dave and Joaquin.
Yes.
What happens to them? Maybe some badness. Maybe somebody gets shot. You know.
I mean, it happened to Boston.
Yeah. The circus is a tough crowd. Circus is a tough place to be. Stuff happens there. Not necessarily good.
Yep.
You know?
But you can't beat the popcorn.
And elephants running amok. You never know.
Yeah.
But Todd.
Yes.
What's the name of the circus that they're in?
See, I was going to go with McFadden Brothers. Oh,
see,
no, that's
McFadden Brothers, if you watched our She-Hulk, and you should have watched our She-Hulk, McFadden Brothers was a circus that She-Hulk was hanging out with that ends up being
the Circus of Crime. Dun, dun, dun.
And Hallie's Circus.
Ringmasters.
Yeah. Ringmaster. They're bad. They're bad. Don't go buy tickets to the Circus of Crime.
No. They'll fleece you. Yep.
And Hallie's Circus is probably the best known circus because that's the circus of
the Flying Graysons.
Yeah. So in some stories and in certain continuities, again, Deadman might be working there, but not in this story and not in this, and also not traditionally.
No.
So, you know.
Yeah.
People just dying all the time at the circus. All the time. You might want to rethink your career.
Just join a family circus like the Keens did.
Exactly. Now.
One of his friends in the circus.
There you go. Now, one of the folks at the circus is named Tiny. What's Tiny's job?
Locksmith? No.
Tiny is the strong man.
Right.
And, yep. And the Deadman, he has possessed Tiny a couple of times. He goes to, Tiny is his go-to when he needs a little muscle. And also, there's been a couple times where Deadman has reached out and, well, saved Tiny from death. By the way, Todd, do you know what a hooper is in the circus?
They're the ones that hold the rings that the lions jump through, right?
No, a hooper is, if you've ever seen that act where they've got like 3 million hula hoops all over everywhere.
Okay.
That's a hooper.
Huh.
I couldn't do it.
No, I can't even do one hula hoop, so.
You know.
I'll never get a job at Hudsucker Industries, but that's beside the point.
You'll just have to figure out a way. Maybe you can be a strong man.
Yeah.
So, talking about Deadman, etc.
Mm-hmm. With his unique set of powers.
Who gave him his powers? And kind of how did he get them?
Well, it's an interesting dynamic. First you get shot. Then you cross over the mortal plane. And then you encounter the mystic being known as Ramakrishna. Who?
And as Deadman is dying, but not fully dead,
yes,
Ramakrishna intervenes and gives him a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And now forever, or until he can get it fixed. Can he get it fixed? Deadman is halfway between the realm of the living and the realm of the dead.
Yes. And uses his unique abilities to help keep other people from dying before their
when
time.
He can, yeah. I mean, Deadman is a superhero. He's a bit of a unique superhero, but he's a superhero.
But with him on your side, you get a ghost of a chance. So,
So this book, let's talk a little bit about this book.
Okay. Let's.
This book starts where?
Long, long ago in a galaxy far. No, that's.
This book starts in Japan.
Because that's what you immediately think of when you think of a trapeze artist from the U.S.
There's a reason.
There is.
Might have something to do with the international organization known as
the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
Which are all over the globe.
Might have some other ramifications.
Right.
So the book starts. They're in Japan.
Read the book.
Yep. Or at least look at the pictures.
Yes.
So we start off. We're in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a tour.
Yeah.
And the tour is what?
They're traipsing along through an interesting, exciting.
It's a nuclear facility. What could possibly go wrong?
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, I keep waiting, it's
there's almost as many accidents as certain nuclear facilities as there are circuses in comics, so.
Yeah. And I keep waiting for Godzilla to show up, even though he does not show up. But it's like, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
But obviously, Deadman, or maybe not so obviously, Deadman's not the one doing or getting the tour of the nuclear facility. Who's getting the tour?
Yeah, if anything, Deadman's just along for the ride. Tour is being given by.
He's dead weight. Jim Gordon, Commissioner Jim Gordon, although he is an acting ambassador at this point.
Right.
And, although, is it Jim Gordon? Is it really Jim Gordon? You should maybe read the book and find out.
Surprised it wasn't Jim Braddock, since he was the gentleman ghost. That would have fit.
Exactly. But, yeah. So, Jim Gordon, he's getting a tour. And if he happens to run into a bunch of rogue assassins wandering the hall, in a nuclear facility in Japan, what could possibly go wrong?
Don't know. I'm at a deadlock.
Deadhead.
Nah, that's the concert afterwards.
By the way, we mentioned Jim Gordon's hanging out. Which of the following doesn't appear in the book?
All these wonderful mystic characters. One day
Morbius. Morbius does not appear in this book. Hey, Todd, want to give us a good guess as to why Morbius doesn't appear in the book?
Because Morbius is a Marvel villain from Marvel Comics, whereas the other three, Spectre, Phantom Stranger, and Etrigan, are all part of the DC universe.
Okay, and Todd, for no additional points, Etrigan is?
Etrigan is the demon who always speaks in verse.
Mm-hmm.
The alter ego of Jason Blood. He's actually the demon resurrected by Merlin to battle Morgan Le Fay back in King Arthur's time.
As you do. And the Phantom Stranger?
He's that mysterious stranger with the really cool look who's just always been around, shows up at the oddest times, seems to know lots more than he's letting on.
Maybe running the Found Toll booth.
Yeah.
And the Spectre?
And the Spectre was originally a cop named Jim Corrigan who gets killed and then gets brought back as the Avenging Spirit. Or the Spirit of Vengeance, actually. But over the years, the Spectre has assumed other hosts. But he's a pretty major player in the cosmos of the DC universe. And tends to stop lots of different people who are trying to kill off poor humans.
Poor humans.
Poor humans.
All right. So again, illustrations and questions are from and inspired by Deadman, the Neal Adams book. Yes. In 1967, a blazingly talented artist helped bring the strange adventures of Deadman to life and redefined what comics could do. Now Neal Adams has reunited with his haunting hero to solve the mystery of his murder once and for all. Boston Brand was just a circus performer when an assassin cut him down in his high-flying prime, given an eerie afterlife as the spectral superhero called Deadman. He has the power to possess the living in order to fight for justice and find his own killer. But the conspiracy behind his death goes deeper than Deadman knows.
Yes.
Now, with the help of allies from this world and beyond, including Batman and Zatanna, who else?
Dr. Fate.
Yeah, all these folks. Deadman will follow the trail to its infernal source, the League of the Assassins and its immortal mastermind,
Ra's al Ghul.
Yes. Dive into the all-new investigation of the DC Universe's dark side, written, illustrated, and colored by Neal Adams. Deadman is what we were talking about tonight. And it's Neal Adams. So in addition to Deadman, Neal Adams, I always think of him as being the just one of the best Batman artists. What else did Neal Adams do?
He had a very small stint on X-Men and did the Avengers Kree-Skrull War, those two little parts. But primarily he's been a DC artist over the years, did a lot of Superman, did the Superman with Muhammad Ali special back in the day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Did the Green Lantern, Green Arrow team-ups that kind of jump-started those characters in the mid-late 70s with Denny O'Neil, along with revitalizing Batman back into the Dark Knight detective. One of the fun things they actually talked about in the celebration about his career at Baltimore Comic-Con was the fact that they created Ra's al Ghul to be his Moriarty. Because they
Batman's Moriarty. Yeah.
Batman's Moriarty, because they wanted to bring him back to being that detective character.
Yes.
Which is why Ra's al Ghul always calls him detective and doesn't actually call him Batman.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, next week we're going to be talking about Black Panther Shuri, Deadliest of the Species.
Mm-hmm. Because next week, Wakanda Forever. Next Black Panther movie comes out.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And the winner is Mary, our new reigning champion. Woohoo!
He is a marvel.
Hey, just wanted to take a minute. Hopefully, you came out to see us in Baltimore last week.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you missed out. We did 2 live panels. One was with Jamal Igle talking about The Wrong Earth. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. The other was talking with Ron Mars about Silver Surfer Rebirth. And we had somebody crash that panel, right, Todd?
Yeah, there's this little known new talent, some guy named Jim Starlin. I think he's going places.
Jim Starlin.
He's done a couple of things that are pretty good. Thanos.
And we chatted. Well, God, and who did we talk to? We talked to a bunch of folks.
We did.
And we're going to start to ask them to see. I mean, if you'd like to see it, maybe having them come along and answering questions and being part of this as well. If this is something you think you'd be interested in, so let us know. And if you are interested, let us know who you want to see or don't want to see.
Yeah. Creators and books both, you know.
But again, exactly. And always, what do you like? What are you into? Let us know.
Yeah.
Because, we like comics. Yes, we do.
You like comics? How about you?
And hey, if there's a Comic-Con that you're going to be at in sometime in the near future, give us a ping. Maybe we can stop by and do the show live.
Yeah.
Always fun. But in the meantime, be good to each other. Have fun. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you next week with Shuri.
Celebrate life on this Day of the Dead.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Right.